I set the roast down, and the fork hadn't even touched my plate when Mason said, "So, Dan, what kind of lock is on your safe?" Silence. Then the clock ticked. Once, twice. Lily kicked his ankle under the table. "Mason, seriously." He gave me that friendly influencer smile. The kind narcissists practice in front of a screen. "Just looking out, sir." "Lot of break-ins lately." "There haven't been any break-ins on our street," I said. "Not in 15 years. "Oh, must have been the next subdivision." He waved it off, eyes never leaving mine. His pupils were a shade too wide. That told me more than his words. "I'm Dan Carter, 55, retired claims investigator. I believe in lists, labeled folders, and boundaries you can see. I also believe dinner should be the safest room in a house. Tonight, it wasn't." Mason leaned in, elbows on my table like he owned the deed. "Do you keep important stuff in there? Documents, cash? You know the will, just in case." Lily coughed into her napkin. "Why are you asking my dad about his will?" "Because I care," Mason said. "If God forbid something happens, Lily should know where the bank accounts are, who the executor is, where the original will is stored. Probate is a nightmare." "All true," I said. "It's also none of your business." He laughed too loud. Totally. Just trying to help. You'd be surprised how many older folks misplace things." There it was, the gentle gaslighting. Age as a lever. Make me doubt myself, then take what isn't his. I cut my meat. Small bites. Slow. "I don't misplace things." "Babe," Lily told him. "Drop it." Mason pivoted like a salesman who smelled commission. "Insurance, then. You've got personal property scheduled, right? Jewelry riders, safe contents. If the house burned down tomorrow, what's the documentation? Photos? Written evidence?" "The documentation's handled," I said. "What are you really asking?" He shrugged, palms up, the performance of innocence. "Routine. My uncle lost everything because he didn't list serial numbers." Quote. My phone buzzed on the buffet. A text from Hank next door. "Hank, your son-in-law took a long look at your garage keypad yesterday. Might be nothing. Might be something." I slid the phone face down. "Dan," Mason said, softer. "How many people have keys to your place?" "Strictly safety. I do." He smirked. "Only you? That's not safe. What if you forget where you put them?" Lily stiffened. "Mason, I'm not a yeller. I'm a recorder. I pay attention, collect patterns, then move. My late wife used to call it boring. It kept a lot of families out of court." Mason stabbed a carrot, casual. "Also, night routine. You a heavy sleeper?" "Like, once you're out, you're out? Depends who's in my house. Well do and come to the saz with their sedend. There will doer and of not so flive. There would no face," he chuckled. "Fair." I topped off Lily's water. "Here's what's in place. The original will is with my estate attorney in Columbus. A copy is in the safe. And there's a sealed envelope for Lily with asset summaries and account beneficiaries. If I get hit by a bus, she'll know exactly what to do and who to call. That clear enough?" Mason's jaw ticked. "Crystal." Lily changed the subject. "New kids at her library. A high school senior who still checked out paperbacks like it was 1,998. The tension loosened, but only on the surface. Halfway through dessert, Mason tried a softer entry. "I noticed you don't have cameras inside. That's kind of old school. Maybe I can install a couple for you. Blink, Nest, whatever. I'm handy." "You're not drilling into my walls," I said. He smiled. "Boundaries. Got it." The way he said boundaries told me he didn't believe in them. Another buzz. This time, an email banner slid across my screen. From Midwest Community Bank. Subject, confirmation, online access request. Preview. "We received your request to add a new device." I hadn't requested anything. My stomach went cold. "Excuse me," I said, pushing back from the table. In the hallway, I opened the email fully. It wasn't a transfer. It was a failed attempt to add a device to view balances. The IP was unknown. The timestamp, 6:12 p.m. We sat down for dinner at 6:10. Back at the table, Mason lifted his glass. "To family, and to being smart about it." Saturday. Here's smart. Lily knows where the letters of instruction are. She knows the POA is springing. Not durable only activates with a physician's letter. Not because somebody's impatient, The safe is bolted, the deed is in a fireproof bag, and the bank calls me if a stranger breathes near my accounts. He swallowed, smile thinning. That's thorough. Job hazard, I said. Spent 30 years watching enablers feed toxic messes because they didn't want to make it awkward. I can handle awkward. He tried to laugh it off, but his knee bounced under the table. Lily saw it too. Mason, why are you pressing my dad like this? If he wants help, he'll ask. He set his fork down. Apologies. My friend got locked out of his inheritance because his dad hid everything. I don't want you blindsided. I looked at Lily. You will not be blindsided. She nodded, trusting me like she always has. That's the part predators love, trust. They count on it. They weaponize it. Mason's phone buzzed. He glanced, flipped it face down so fast it scraped the wood. A telegram icon flashed before it disappeared. Work? I asked. Recruiter, he said. For a librarian, Lily spends her life around fiction. She can still smell a lie. I cleared plates. Coffee? In a bit, he said. I might run upstairs, headache. Do you have aspirin in your bathroom? A practiced line. I held his eyes. Aspirin is in the hall cabinet, top shelf, in a labeled bin. You won't need my bedroom. He blinked first. Right, hall cabinet. I brewed coffee. The kitchen was quiet except for the drip and the hum of the old fridge. Through the doorway I caught Lily's reflection in the mirror. Eyebrows knit, lips pressed. She wasn't bought, not entirely. My phone buzzed again. Another email. From Ava Reynolds, Esquire. Subject. Estate packet uploads complete. Preview. Dan, your updated will, TODs, and beneficiary changes are in the portal. We'll review Friday. I exhaled. Good. Ava was fast. Back at the table, I set the mugs down. We're done talking about my safe. Sure, Mason said. Just trying to help. Help looks like washing dishes, I said. Or not asking a man about his will while you eat his food. Lily stifled a smile. Mason stood, collecting plates. The smile came back. Fine. Wash them. He stacked too many at once. The top one slid. Clinked against the floor. Didn't break. He muttered something under his breath. I wasn't supposed to hear. I heard it anyway. After. Lily hugged me goodnight and headed up to the guest room. Mason lingered at the bottom of the stairs, phone in hand. If you change your mind about cameras, he said, text me. I can install them tomorrow. With yous now. I won't, I said. Good night. Upstairs, doors closed. The house should have exhaled. It didn't. In my office, I opened Ava's portal, double-checked my asset list, and uploaded today's account statements. Fresh written evidence. If a storm was coming, I wanted timestamps ready. Then I set my phone on the desk, screen down, microphone live. Because when a man tries to turn your dinner table into a crime scene, you don't argue with him. You take notes. You draw the line, and you wait for him to cross it. I do a lap every night before bed. Doors, windows, stove. It's not paranoia, it's procedure. At the top of the stairs, I stopped. My bedroom door always closed, sat open 2 inches, a thin blade of dark. I stood still and listened. House sounds only. The AC kicking off. A cricket outside. Lily's soft step crossing the guest room. Then silence. I nudged the door with 2 fingers. No creak. I oil the hinges every January. Inside, everything looked normal to someone who doesn't live here. I do. The closet door was open 4 inches. I close it flush. Always. The second dresser drawer, my papers drawer, sat a hair proud. A manila folder stuck out like a yellow tongue. The lamp on my nightstand had rotated maybe 10 degrees. I pulled the drawer. The order was wrong. Insurance files in front of bank files. The copy of my will, normally in back, had migrated forward. The strip of double-sided tape under the drawer lip was there, but the brass key it held was gone. Static filled my ears. Not fear. Calculation. I ran my finger under the lip again to confirm. Nothing. I looked at the safe in the closet. Mid-size, bolted to the slab. Digital entry. Manual override for emergencies, the missing key. I put everything back as I'd found it. Same misaligned angles. Same out-of-place folder. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and timed my breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I sent a single text to myself so I'd have a timestamp. Me. Bedroom door ajar. Key missing. Drawer disturbed. 9:41 p.m. I plugged my phone in, dimmed the screen, toggled voice memos, and titled a new file. Evidence divided by Mason, pending. In Ohio, one-party consent means I can record a conversation I'm part of. It also means I can record my own house noises if I'm present. And tonight, I was present. I lay back, fully clothed, eyes on the crack in the door. At 11:38 p.m., water ran in the guest bath. At 11:51, Lily's door clicked and stayed shut. At 12:13, the downstairs fridge cycled on. At 12:31, the staircase complained one step only, the one that's always a little loose. Then, 12:47 a.m., a murmur under my floor, male voice, Mason. I slid to the heat vent grill and tilted my ear. Old houses carry sound like gossip. Yeah, he whispered. It's me. Everyone's out. Pause. A lower voice I couldn't make out. I told you the old man's loaded, Mason said. I'm looking at statements. Brokerage, IRA, the whole menu. I tapped record. My phone screen glowed for a moment, then went dark. The red waveform crawled across. I put a pillow over it. We're not waiting, Mason said. Lily's got her book club tomorrow, 7 to 9. I already have the safe key. He keeps everything in there. Beneficiary forms, probably bank access, maybe cash. We're in and out. Another pause, then Mason again. No, I didn't tell her about the debt. Why would I? She's soft. She'll just cry and call her dad. I need this solved. You know what these guys are like. My jaw clenched. Narcissist logic. Other people exist to absorb your consequences. He kept talking. Relax. The old man thinks he's careful, but he's old. He was asking me about security at dinner, which, honestly, helped. I know where the cameras aren't. He's asleep by 10. He takes pills. Lie. I hadn't. A chair scraped downstairs. We'll be clear by Thursday, Mason said. I'll tell Lily I got a job in Denver. We leave before he even notices. He'll misplace a few papers and write it off. That was the gaslighting plan. Turn an attack into my memory problem. Paint me as the confused enabler of my own loss. I breathed, steady. The file length ticked to 211. I wanted names. I wanted amounts. I wanted admissions. How much? The other voice asked, muffled but distinct. 47, Mason said. And they're not patient. That's why we do it now. $47,000. Number in the can. He moved toward the front of the house, softer now, near the foyer, testing the deadbolt, maybe rehearsing. A minute later, the stairs complained in reverse. Footfalls, hallway, my door. The knob turned a hair, then stopped. He was confirming. He was mapping. I closed my eyes, thickened my breathing, and counted to 30. The knob released. He padded to the guest room. The door closed. Silence again. I stopped the recording. The file sat there, pulsing. Evidence divided by Mason. 1,247. AM. M. 4A. I duplicated it. Airdropped the copy to my laptop, then emailed both to my own Gmail and uploaded them to Ava's secure portal. 4 places. If my house burned down, the written evidence would outlive the match. I texted Hank. Me, Hank. If you see anything on your ring from 12:30-12:50, save it. Don't ask. Hank. Already on it. Saw him outside your garage keypad around 6. You want the clip? Me. Yes. Title it. Keypad. 1,812. MP. 4. I set 3 alarms, 6:30, 6:45, 7. Not because I needed them, because I wanted proof I'd slept, and that I'd woken on time. Predators rewrite timelines. I don't let them. I stared at the ceiling and wrote a list in my head. Replace. Key location. Prepare. Decoy. Install. Eyes in the room. Document. Every contact, every change. Avoid. Direct confrontation until Lily hears the truth from him. At 2:06 a.m., a whispered notification on my phone. Ava Reynolds' portal upload received. She was probably asleep. The system wasn't. I scrolled my camera roll and took photos of the misalignments, the drawer's proud edge, the closet gap, the nightstand angle. I added a note in the photo info. Taken 12:58 a.m., no edits. If Mason tried to say I staged anything, metadata would disagree. One more pass. I pulled the drawer, lifted the runner, checked for any fiber, a smudge, anything. A single glitter speck clung to my finger. Not mine. Lily hates glitter, and I don't own any. I smiled in the dark. If he wants to leave a trail, I whispered, I'll make sure it shines. The house settled again. Somewhere on our quiet Ohio street, a fox barked. I lay back, eyes open, counting breaths. If you've spent your life protecting people from toxic messes, you can feel a heist before it happens. You can also end one before it starts. At 6:30 the alarm vibrated. I sat up, saved the voice memo again, and renamed the copy with the exact time. Mason, call, 004712, M4A. Then I built a new folder on my desktop. Case, Mason. Divided by with subfolders divided by audio, video, photos, docs. It took me 30 seconds. It took him 3 weeks to underestimate me. Downstairs I started coffee and opened my notebook. Title line, all caps, boundaries. Under it, I wrote the only sentence that mattered. Stop feeling guilty. Start fighting back. Morning feels different when you've heard a crime rehearsed in your living room. I poured coffee, opened my notebook, and wrote the question I'd been dodging for months. Was I enabling their toxic behavior by being too nice? Short answer, yes. Long answer, not anymore. My phone buzzed. Hank, sent you the ring clip. 6:12 p.m. He palms your garage keypad like he's in Ocean's 11. Me. Got it. Thanks. Keep everything you have. Hank, you pressing charges? Me. I'm pressing boundaries first. I forwarded the clip to divided by case, Mason divided by video, and tagged the file. Keypad. 1812. XG ring. MP4. Then I texted Ava Reynolds, the attorney who set up my estate packet last month. Me Ava, urgent. Family matter. Possible attempted theft. I have audio, one-party consent, plus ring video plus bank alerts. Can you meet? Ava, noon. Black Dog Coffee, Main Street. Bring everything. Me. On my way at 11:55. I left Lily a note. Library shift will be fine. I love you. No adjectives, no panic. Panic feeds narcissists. Black Dog Coffee smells like burned sugar and ambition. Ava was already there, hair up, laptop open, pen clicking in that fast courtroom rhythm. She didn't do small talk. Walk me through it, she said. I placed my folder down, printed emails, bank alerts, photo timestamps, and the voice memo on a thumb drive. My son-in-law probed my safe at dinner, stole my key earlier, and at 12:47 a.m. laid out his plan. $47,000 in gambling debt. Window is Lily's book club tomorrow. He intends to take documents from the safe and vanish. I recorded the call. I have Hank's ring clip of him testing my keypad at 6:12. Ava's eyes narrowed. You recorded in Ohio. Good. One-party consent. Chain of custody on media. Duplicated to laptop. Emailed to myself. Uploaded to your portal. Original remains on my phone. I've preserved metadata on photos. 12:58 a.m. Misaligned drawer, closet gap, nightstand angle. She nodded. All right. We're going to stop feeling guilty and start fighting back. 3 tracks. Legal, operational, emotional. Start with legal. Legal. You've got attempted theft and potentially menacing by stalking if we can prove a pattern. We're not pulling that trigger today. We build. Preserve written evidence. Maintain chain of custody. Avoid provocation. We'll prep a no trespass notice and a demand to surrender keys. If he escalates, we go civil protection order. Meanwhile, I want your trust divided by POA, divided by will Hardwald. They already are, I said. Springing POA, original will with you, copy in the safe. Good. We'll add a revocable living trust for the house deed as a next step if needed. Also, add credit freezes on you and if she agrees, Lily. At all 3 bureaus. Enable 2-factor on all bank accounts. Move your safe key location now and deploy a decoy. If he touches the decoy, we tighten the noose. Operational? I asked. She pointed her pen. Cameras. 1 in your bedroom with motion-activated night vision. 1 covering your safe. 1 at the hall angle. Keep them inside your room and common areas, not the guest room, to avoid privacy complaints. Set your phone to silent and record. If there's a confrontation, you speak briefly. Reference the facts. No yelling. Narcissists feed on chaos. Emotional? I asked, bracing. Her voice softened half a notch. Gaslighting only works if it recruits your guilt. He's betting you'll protect Lily by downplaying it. Don't. Protect her by naming it. Offer choices, not leverage. If you can, let him self-incriminate in front of her. It's brutal, but it ends the fantasy. I slid the thumb drive over. Audio file. Mason call. 004712 M4A. She plugged it in, hit play. Listen to Mason call me old and loaded. Listen to the timeline. Listen to the number. 47,000. She paused it and looked up. That's your smoking gun, she said. We do this quietly, precisely, and if needed, we hand a neat package to the prosecutor with a bow. Glitter, I said. She squinted. Excuse me? Not a bow. A pack. A glitter pack. Visible marker. He wants stealth. I want poetic justice. Ava didn't smile. She didn't have to. If you do anything like that, make sure it's non-injurious and clearly a deterrent. And document installation. Defense attorneys love the word booby trap. We'll never use it. Understood. Her laptop pinged. Also, your bank's device ad attempt last night will send a preservation letter to the bank to save access logs. If his phone touched your online banking, I want the IP and user agent. I took a breath. I keep thinking if I'd pressed earlier, if I hadn't given them a place to land. Ava clicked her pen twice. Enablers aren't bad people. They're conflict averse. Conflict is how boundaries are drawn. Welcome to the drawing. I leaned back. The cafe noise faded. This wasn't about being a nice dad. It was about being a good guardian. She closed the laptop. One more thing, Lily. You need her to choose reality over narrative. She won't hear it from you. She'll hear it from him. So, you arrange a moment where he says the quiet part out loud. How? You give him the stage he thinks he deserves, she said, and the audience he can't afford to lose. On my way out, I texted Lily. Me, dinner tonight, your pick. Lily. I'm on late shift. Tomorrow? Me, tomorrow. I'll make chili. Lily. Perfect. Back home I started the checklist. Two-factor everywhere. New passcodes. Disable trusted devices. Credit freeze. Experian. Equifax. TransUnion. Confirmation. PDFs saved to divided by case. Mason divided by docs. Cameras. Bedroom and hall installed. Test clips labeled. View. Bed. Night. Test 1. MP4. And hall angle. Test 2. MP4. Safe. New override key wrapped in foil. Tucked inside a rubber band bundle of twist ties in the kitchen junk drawer. Decoy. Old luggage key placed where the real one used to be. I placed a printed letters of instruction envelope on my desk. Updated TOD divided by POD, beneficiary confirms from the bank portal, and printed the failed device ad email with headers showing the IP. Written evidence that didn't blink. At noon 40, my phone rang. Dr. Patel, a therapist I'd seen once after my wife died. Dan, he said, voice warm. A mutual friend thought you might need 15 minutes. I don't need therapy, I said. I need a plan. Plans fail if guilt drives, Dr. Patel said. Practice a line right now. I'm not being cruel. I'm being clear. Again, I said it, felt it land. He continued. When you speak to Lily, speak to the pattern, not the person. This is coercion. This is deception. This is a boundary. If she cries, you don't rescue the discomfort. You hold it. That's love with teeth. We hung up. I stood in the quiet and looked around my house. Everything I loved had labels, bins, folders, habits. It was time to label this too. Toxic, gaslighting, narcissist. Not my words for him, my words for the playbook. You only beat a playbook by calling it. By late afternoon, I had a neat grid on my desk. Audio. Mason admitting amount, plan, timeline 12:47 a.m. Video. Ring keypad, 1,812. Bedroom test clips. Docs, bank alert, device ad email, estate packet confirmations, credit freeze PDFs. Photos. Drawer, closet. Lamp, misalignment with EXIF. I printed a clean one-pager for Ava labeled timeline and exhibits. The way I used to build files at the insurance company. Old muscle memory. New target. At 5:30, Lily texted a photo of the children's section. She decorated paper birds, pastel garlands. Lily, kids loved it. See you tomorrow. Love you. Me. Love you more. I looked at the garlands and thought of glitter. One is celebration, one is consequence. He'd meet the second. Sundown in Centerville turns the street copper. I stood at my window and watched porch lights blink on, one by one, like neighbors agreeing, this is a safe block. It is. Because some of us still do procedure. Because some of us refuse to let predators decide what a house is for. I wrote one more line in the notebook, under stop feeling guilty, start fighting back. I underlined it twice. Invite him to cross the line in front of her. I don't do revenge. I do procedure. Today, procedure would look a lot like power. I started with a checklist taped to the fridge. Recce the narrative. Mark the intruder. Film the truth. Leave a paper trail a prosecutor would frame. 8:05 a.m. Recce the narrative. The real override key, the brass one he stole, was no longer part of my life. I had the manufacturer ship a temporary lockout kit to my P.O. box. The safe now required dual verification. Digital code plus secondary token clipped inside my wallet. The new physical key lived inside a taped, unlabeled envelope under the water heater pan boring places hide best. In the dresser papers drawer, I placed a decoy. An old luggage key, polished to look important. It sat exactly where my real key once lived, just deep enough to require a reach. I filmed the layout on my phone. One continuous slow pan, time-stamped, then saved the clip as drawer, pre-install, 906, MP4, 837 mark the intruder. I set the glitter die pack on the workbench, my own clean version of a bank's die pack. Nothing explosive, nothing sharp. A spring-loaded party confetti cannon repacked with ultra-fine silver glitter and cornstarch for volume. Non-toxic, non-injurious. In my notes I wrote, deterrent device, non-harmful visual marker, clearly a warning. No one would ever hear the phrase booby trap from my mouth. I calibrated with a wooden ruler 3 test pulls from different angles to make sure it only triggers when a hand extends past the decoy toward the back. Each test I filmed. Install, test A, 911, MP4, test B, 913, MP4, test C, 916, MP4. On camera, I narrated. Placement is in my personal dresser drawer. Target activation requires intentional reach into back quadrant. Purpose, visual marking and documentation, not harm. 9:25. Film the truth. The bedroom camera was already in place. I added a second. A thumbnail-sized hall cam angled at my doorway, both on motion-activated night vision, both uploading copies to a cloud bucket tied to an account Mason doesn't know exists. I ran a dummy pass, walked in, opened the drawer, waved. The feed looked good. I saved the test. Hall, angle, ready. 938, MP4, 950 paper trail. I assembled a one-page exhibit index with dates and file names, audio, video, photos, emails. Then I drafted 2 letters with Ava's template. Demand to surrender keys. Addressed to Mason Brooks, requesting immediate return of all physical divided by virtual keys, codes, and access cards to my property. No trespass. Notice. A formal written notice that any non-consensual entry constitutes criminal trespass under Ohio Revised Code. I didn't print them yet. Timing matters. 10:15 banking. I called Midwest Community Bank from my landline, recorded the call with the standard. This call may be recorded audible on both ends. I requested device access logs preservation for last 72 hours. The rep said he'd submit a legal hold request to IT. I took notes. Name, employee ID, time, ticket number. I emailed Ava the log. 1052 evidence insurance. I exported a checksum. SHA. 256 for the 12:47 a.m. audio and attached it to a PDF with the file size and modified date. If Mason later screamed, deep fake, I wanted math to testify. 11:30 Lily. I typed a text and didn't send it. Draft. I love you. Tonight, I need you to hear something hard. I won't raise my voice. I won't call names. I will show you facts. I deleted the draft. She'd hear it when it counts, with him in the room. Noon Ava. We did a 10-minute call. She listened to my device plan and said, clean, visual, documented. If it triggers, you stay calm. You ask neutral questions. You never say the word trap. You say deterrent and documentation. Copy, I said. And Dan, she added, if he tries to drug you or frame you as confused, you phrase it like this. I'm not being cruel. I'm being clear. Then stop talking. 12:40 Hank. He dropped a small manila envelope at my porch. Inside, a USB with last night's ring clips and a hand-scribbled note. He's the kind of guy who thinks the world owes him batteries. I hate that guy. I smiled. Allies matter. 1:15 p.m. dress, rehearsal. I walked through the beat. Dresser staged with decoy and deterrent device. Camera angles confirmed. Phone on nightstand. Voice memos one tap away. Laminated exhibit index tucked under the bed. I'm old school. Lamination calms me. Letters printed, unsigned in a folder marked to be hand-delivered. 3:10 unexpected email. From Midwest Community Bank. Subject: unusual activity alert. Preview. We blocked a sign-in attempt from an unrecognized device at 3:07 p.m. during daylight now. I printed the email with full headers. Mason was either sloppy or desperate. Maybe both. 4. Breathe. I made chili anyway. You can fight and feed the house at the same time. That's what being a dad feels like. 7:05 p.m. book club night tomorrow. I prepped an envelope for Lily labeled open with dad inside. A summary sheet. Timeline, screenshots, ring stills, and the first line of the 12:47 audio transcribed. She wouldn't open it tonight. Tomorrow, if he tried to rewrite reality, she'd have text she could hold. 8:12 knock at my den door. Mason leaned on the frame, casual. The night owl routine warming up. You got a minute, Dan? He asked. He wore that toxic lightness people use when they want something. Figured we could bond. Man to man, I saw a nice bottle of Elijah Craig in your cabinet. 1 glass? I'm on medication, I said. Doctor says no alcohol. He widened his eyes with concern he didn't feel. Not even a splash? Helps sleep. No, I said. Helps you. He laughed. You're a riot. He checked his phone like it was a mirror and straightened his shirt. Anyway, if you change your mind, come down. I'll pour you something tiny. I won't, I said. He drifted toward the kitchen. I heard the clink of ice, the cabinet door, the soft laugh he gave to rooms he thought loved him. I went upstairs, pulled the dresser, and rechecked the deterrent. Still armed, still precise. I adjusted the camera by a millimeter and took one last reference photo of the drawer's interior. Exif, recorded the minute. 9:03 text from Ava. Ava, remember, if he asks personal questions about the safe tonight, don't answer content. Answer, process. Everything's documented. If he mentions the will, say, my attorney holds the original. If he presses access, end the convo. Me. Copy. 9:26 text from Hank. Hank. His sedan just circled the block while he was getting groceries with Lily. He parked 2 houses down. Odd. Me. Save that clip. Title, loop, 1922. MP4. I turned off the hall light, left the door 2 inches open the way he liked it, and lay on top of the covers, clothed, phone in reach. The house hummed. From downstairs came the faint clink of a glass, and the well-practiced sigh of a man who wants the world to go limp for him. 9:47, the invitation. He called up from the bottom of the stairs, voice syrup sweet. Dan, you sure you don't want a nightcap? I kept my tone even. I'm sure. A beat. He lingered there, silhouette long on my wall. You sleep heavy? He asked. I sleep prepared, I said. Silence. Then the steps retreated, soft and measured, counting which boards whine, which ones don't. The predator's map. I toggled voice memos, set the red dot crawling, and slid the phone under the pillow. The camera's tiny status LED went out. In stealth mode, it sees better than any human. Not cruel, I whispered into the dark. Clear. If he crossed my boundaries tonight, the house would answer in glitter and evidence. If he waited for Lily's book club tomorrow, the plan would hold for a second act. Either way, the story was done being his. Downstairs, ice rattled in a glass. The refrigerator hummed, the clock ticked, and upstairs, in the small gap of my door, the line glowed like a wire. The house was a study in quiet. Refrigerator hum. The old clock's patient tick. A lonely semi on 48 droning the far edge of town. 12:41 a.m. Guest room settled. Lily asleep. Downstairs, TV whispering to no one. I lay on top of the covers, shoes off, belt on, voice memos rolling, hall cam armed, bedroom cam set to motion. The drawer waited, calibrated to intention, not curiosity. 12:57. One stare complained, not the loud one, the one he learned to feather. A slow hand on my door. The 2-inch gap widened to 3, then 4. He paused, let the dark listen, then slipped inside. The camera woke, no light, no sound. Just a faint tick on my app. I eased one eye open to a slit. Black hoodie. Socks. Phone screen down in his palm like a polished stone. He stood over me for a full count of 30, head tilted, listening to my fake sleep. Narcissists love their audience. He wanted proof I was out. I gave him performance. 4-count inhale. 6-count exhale. A tiny snore. He melted toward the dresser, the second drawer, the one he knows, not the one he understands. He pulled it an inch, 2, 3. He froze, scanning. The decoy key flashed in the ambient glow from the hall like cheap gold. He smiled. Then he reached past it. The deterrent spoke, not a bang, more like a party favor with ambition. A compressed and a burst of silver erupted straight into his face and forearms. A shimmering storm of ultrafine glitter riding cornstarch like smoke. It painted him hair, lashes, hoodie, hands, an instant, undeniable marker. The cornstarch took his breath, the glitter took his dignity. He staggered back, slapping at air, at himself, at the universe. What the? I sat up hard and hit the lamp. Light sliced the room. He froze, sparkling, busted, holding the decoy like a kid shouldering a lie. Mason, I said evenly. Why are you in my bedroom? Opening my private drawer at 1 in the morning. His mouth opened and closed. Glitter shed from his hoodie in a steady snowfall. There was a noise. He coughed. I came to check, and something exploded. Are you okay? In my dresser, I asked. The noise exploded in my dresser. He tried on concern. I thought maybe you had a boobie. Don't say that word. I cut in, voice flat. Deterrent, non-injurious. Visual. That's what it is. Could beat pride. He blinked glitter. You set traps in your bedroom? I set boundaries in my house. Down the hall, a door opened. Dad? Lily's voice, thick with sleep. Bare feet. Quick. She stopped in the doorway, eyes wide. She took in the sparkle storm, the open drawer, the decoy key in his hand. Mason, she said slowly. Why are you in my father's room? He dropped the decoy like it burned. I heard something. I was checking on him. Checking his drawer? Lily asked. Sleep aids. He latched onto the script like a lifeline. He said he keeps sleep meds. My meds are labeled in the hall cabinet, I said. You walked past it. He swallowed. Glitter dusted his teeth. I thought everything's confusing in the dark. Your head's sparkling, Lily said, stunned. What is on you? Some kind of device, he said. This is dangerous, Dan. If I'd been hurt. It's non-harmful, I said. Documented. Calibrated. Installed in my private drawer. The video, audio, and photos of that installation exist with timestamps. Words you'll hear me repeat. Non-injurious visual marker. Documentation. Deterrent. His eyes flicked to the camera on the nightstand, camouflaged in a paperback stack. He didn't find it. He looked back at me. Lily folded her arms. Why are your hands in his drawer, Mason? He went soft. Babe, I heard a noise. I thought I saw someone outside. I came to make sure your dad was okay, and then, he gestured to his glitter armor. This, outside? I asked. Where? He blinked. Front or maybe back. Which one? I asked. Calm, courtroom cadence. Ava would be satisfied. He hesitated. The, garage, maybe? Good, I said. We'll pull Hank's ring footage of the garage 10 minutes before you came in here, and the hall cam of this doorway 10 seconds before you touched my drawer. We'll pair those with the email you got from Midwest Community Bank at 3:07 p.m. when you tried to add a device to my online access, and the bank alert that blocked it. And B, I didn't, he began. You did, I said. It's printed with headers. Written evidence tends to be boring. Judges like boring. Lily's face changed the moment a story cracks and light pours in. Being a librarian, she believes in receipts. She looked at the drawer. What exactly were you trying to find? He reached for indignation and found none. Glitter made him ridiculous. Ridiculous makes lies expensive. He chose offense. This is insane. He's paranoid. He put a deterrent in his own drawer because someone kept touching it, I said. I nodded at the glitter drift on the floorboards and outline of his path. Forensics, in its arts and crafts era. He pointed at me, flex launching. You're trying to make me look crazy. No, I said. I'm asking simple questions. Lily stepped closer, voice low. Why were you in his drawer, Mason? He stared at her like she was the enemy who forgot she was his friend. Lily, please. He's manipulating this. He's a narcissist. He planted. Stop, she said, and the stop had steel. My dad labels the flower. He labels the flashlight. He labels the fuse box. He doesn't plant drama. He prevents it. He laughed once sharp, mean. Oh, so now you're both perfect. No, I said. We're clear. He tried to pivot. Look, if you've got POA and wills and… He gestured vaguely at the safe. Why not let me help you organize? That's all I've been trying to do. Power of attorney in this house is springing, I said. It doesn't spring because you're in debt. It springs with physician letters I don't have. You don't get keys because you're impatient. His eyes flashed. He heard the word that mattered. Debt. You don't know anything about my finances. I held his gaze. $47,000 is a lot to know. Lily's breath caught. What? Nothing, Mason said too fast, glitter flaring like punctuation. I let the silence expand until it got heavy. Then I exhaled. We're going to keep tonight calm, I said. No yelling, no names. I'm going to ask you to step out of my room and wash off in the hall bath. Don't move toward the safe. Don't touch anything else. When you're clean, meet us in the kitchen. You can't talk to me like… He started. I'm not being cruel, I said, low. I'm being clear. Something in that sentence took the air out of him. He glanced at Lily, trying to find the old softness. She didn't have it for him tonight. He backed out, a slow comet shedding humiliation and glitter. The hall cam ate the scene quietly. Lily stood very still, then turned to me, eyes burning. Dad, she whispered. How long? 2 nights, I said. But the pattern is older. Her chin wobbled. I wanted to believe he was just stressed, that I wasn't enabling this. You believed you were loving him, I said. Love isn't cover. Water ran in the hall bath. Mason coughed, swore under his breath, flushed nothing with the rage of a man out of script. I opened my nightstand and pulled out a thin laminated sheet. Exhibit index. I laid it on the bed for Lily. Audio 1247. Video, ring plus bedroom. Docs, bank. Photos, drawer. Closet. Lamp. Her eyes scanned, hungry for reasons to stop doubting herself. I'm going to set the kettle, I said. Tea helps when reality lands. We went downstairs. The kitchen felt honest in a way bedrooms rarely do. I turned on the kettle, set out 3 mugs, and placed the index on the island. The voice memo kept rolling in my pocket. The clock said 1:14. Mason came down in a different hoodie. Glitter still clung to his hairline and lashes. Humiliation sticks where soap can't find it. He stopped when he saw the mugs, the index, the way Lily held herself shoulders back. Jaw set, a librarian about to reshelve a life. He tried dignity. This is crazy. A glitter bomb? Cameras in your bedroom? You're going to jail for documenting my property? I asked. In my house? With one-party consent? No. He planted both hands on the island and leaned in like he had leverage. Tiny silver stars jumped from his sleeve onto my quartz. Then let's document something, he said. You're controlling. You're paranoid. You're making Lily choose. I'm asking Lily to see, I said. That's different. He snorted. And what exactly is she supposed to see? I looked at my daughter. Lily, you asked for facts. You're going to get them from him. Mason laughed. From me? What, you expect a confession? You think I'm stupid? I slid my phone from my pocket, set it face up, and tapped the screen to wake it. The red recording bar glowed across the top, voice memos still rolling. I didn't press play. Not yet. Instead, I said, Mason, in 10 minutes you're going to answer a few simple yes or no questions. But before that, We're going to offer you a graceful exit. You will place your house key on this counter. You will text me your phone's last 4 digits, so my bank can verify access logs against your device. Then you will sleep elsewhere tonight. In the morning, we'll talk about next steps with an attorney present. He laughed. Or what? Or you can keep talking, I said softly. And Lily will hear your plan in your voice. Lily's fingers tightened around the mug. She looked at him. What plan? He stared at me, measuring whether I was bluffing. I don't bluff. I prepare. The kettle clicked off. Steam fogged the window. Somewhere on the quiet street, a dog barked twice and stopped. Mason straightened, tried on a smile that didn't fit, and said, You want yes or no? Fine. No, I don't owe anyone. No, I didn't try to add a device. No, I wasn't in your drawer for anything but aspirin. No, I'm not. I held up a hand. Thank you. I amend that. They were doing d'others. Lily's voice was fragile and fierce at once. I don't want your nose. I want your why. He ignored her. This is harassment. I could sue. For what? I asked. Boundaries. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his keyring, and tossed a single brass key onto the island like a dare. There. Happy? It was a copy, cheap and fresh. It skated across quartz and spun to a stop. I didn't touch it. One more, I said. Phone digits. He didn't move. Next steps it is, I said. I picked up my phone, opened files, and scrolled to the folder divided by case, Mason divided by audio. The file waited where I'd left it, dumb and devastating. Mason. Call. 004712. M4A. I tapped once and the little waveforms bloomed. Lily, I said, eyes on her, not him. You asked for facts. Her throat worked. Play it. Mason reached for the phone across the island. I set my palm down between him and the screen. Boundaries, I said. The kitchen went very quiet. I hit play. I pressed play. Mason's voice filled my kitchen, clean as a courtroom mic. Yeah, it's me. Everyone's out. The old man's loaded. I'm looking at statements, brokerage, IRA, the whole menu. Lily's got book club tomorrow, 7 to 9. Gives us perfect timing. I already have the safe key. He keeps everything in there, beneficiary forms, bank info. We're in and out. 47. They're not patient. Lily flinched when she heard 47. She didn't breathe when he said book club. She froze on old man. Mason lunged for the phone. I slid it back an inch. Boundaries. He went for bluster. That's fake. AI. You can deep fake anything. Then explain the headers, I said, tapping the printed email from Midwest Community Bank 3:7 p.m. device ad block, and the ring still of him palming my garage keypad at 6:12. Explain the glitter in my bedroom. Explain why my drawer was open at 1A. He stared at the pile that didn't care about his feelings. Lily's voice came out small and sharp. You planned to rob my father while I was at book club. He pivoted to the script. Babe, listen to me. He's a narcissist. He wants to control us. He's making you. Stop gaslighting me. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Explain the 47. He swallowed glitter. That number is... It's not. Yes or no, I said, calm. Do you owe $47,000? Silence. His jaw worked. He tried a different lie and found none that could stand. His shoulders sagged. It's not like that. It's exactly like that, Lily said. You lied for months. You used me to get into his house. You called him old and loaded and grateful. You planned to disappear with me the minute you had what you wanted. I was going to pay it back. He snapped. You don't know the pressure. To have inventions of hope within Mark Fresh. Pressure doesn't open my drawer at 1 a.m, I said. Pressure doesn't forge narratives and call it love. My phone buzzed. Ava. I answered and held the screen up so she could see all three of us. Quick check-in, she said. Status? Audio played, I said. He's denying, then not. Ava's voice went courtroom flat. Mason, I'm Attorney Reynolds. You're in Dan's kitchen. You are being recorded. Do not destroy or touch any device or paper in this room. Do you understand? He sneered. What are you, his personal attack dog? I'm a lawyer who loves receipts, she said. Here's what's going to happen. Mason, you will place any and all house keys on the counter. You will text Dan the last 4 digits of your phone so the bank can match the access log. You will collect only your personal items under Lily's supervision and leave for the night. If you refuse, we'll notify police for a civil standby, and I will file a no trespass notice by sunrise. If you escalate, I will also hand a neat package to the prosecutor labeled attempted theft with audio, video, and bank evidence. Your move. He laughed without humor. You can't kick me out. I'm family. Family doesn't make you a co-owner of a house, Ava said. The deed is in Dan's name. Ohio law will not invent tenancy because you ate his dinner. Lily's eyes filled but stayed steady. Put the keys down, Mason. He tossed one onto the counter. The cheap brass copy spun and winked. I didn't touch it. And the phone digits, Ava said. He stared at Lily, fishing for the enabler she used to be. She didn't blink. 6319, he muttered. Thank you, Ava said. Dan, screenshot, and send me the bank access timeline when it posts. Copy, I said. Mason tried to rally. You really want to do this, Lil? You want to choose him over your husband? I'm choosing reality, she said. And boundaries. He aimed for the old soft spot. I lost my job. I'm underwater. I needed time. You had time, I said. You spent it mapping my stairs. Hey, we the tassin perceive of the tend of dettles. He slapped the counter, glitter leaping like startled fish. This is insane. He set a trap. Deterrent, I corrected. Non-injurious visual marker. Documented installation. Calibrated. I can recite that in my sleep. Ava smiled, quick and sharp. Mason, here's your off-ramp. Take a bag, leave the house. Do not contact Lily directly again tonight. Dan will email you a demand to surrender keys and a no trespass notice. Any entry without permission after that is criminal trespass. If you step 1 inch toward the safe, we call patrol. Understood? And he stared at Lily. We can fix this. She shook her head once. Not with theft. Something ugly flashed across his face. I'll take half in the divorce. You mean half the debt you hid, Lily said. That's all there is. He looked at me, hunting for blame he could live with. You did this. No, I said. You did this. I just documented it. A beat. He realized the room had already made its decision. He grabbed his duffel from the hall, stuffed clothes in blind, and tracked a comet tail of glitter toward the foyer. Leave the garage opener, I said. He froze, tossed it on the shoe bench, yanked the door, and was gone. The night air tasted like rain and relief. I exhaled and set the phone back to the island. The red bar still glowed, recording. Ava's voice softened a degree. Lily. I'm sorry. Tomorrow we'll talk next steps. Separate bank accounts, change PINs, pull your credit report, place a credit freeze if you consent, and schedule a consult for dissolution. Dan, email me the exhibit index and attach the audio checksum. On it, I said. Lily leaned against the sink, staring at the glitter constellations drying on the quartz. I feel stupid. You feel sober, Ava said. Different drug, different hangover. That feeling goes away. Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. Thank you. Get sleep, Ava said. And if he returns, call dispatch and say, no trespass on file, civil standby requested. Keep it boring. The call ended. The kitchen got very quiet. We stood there in the hum, 3 mugs cooling, the house finally breathing. Lily spoke first. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. It looks like procedure, I said. Clear steps, no rush, no guilt. She picked up the cheap brass copy and dropped it in the trash. This doesn't get to be symbolic. I smiled. I like you when you're precise. I emailed Ava the exhibit index and attached, Mason, call, 004712, M4, a plus, SHA 256 PDF, ring keypad, 1812, bank, device block, 1507, EML, bedroom, cam, 110, MOV, and 4 EXIF photos. The subject line read, Case, Mason Timeline, and Exhibits. Kitchen confrontation logged 114-138. I printed the demand to surrender keys and the no trespass notice, signed, scanned, and sent them from my desktop. A paper trail a prosecutor could frame. Upstairs, I turned off the bedroom camera and slid the drawer closed with 2 fingers. The faint sparkle in the grain looked like stars in a cheap planetarium. Justice, tonight, wasn't loud. It was documented. On my nightstand, the notebook waited. I wrote one line under boundaries. Receipts don't argue, people do. Then I killed the light and let the house. Finally, sleep. Morning came gray and honest. Coffee tasted like wet pennies. Glitter still lived in the grout like tiny, unapologetic stars. Lily sat at the island in a sweatshirt with the hood up, eyes swollen, voice small. What happens now? Now we do procedure, I said. No rush. No guilt. My inbox chimed. Ava. Filed no trespass by email divided by text plus certified mail. Drafted preservation letters to bank divided by ISP. Can you send me a photo of the garage opener he surrendered and the cheap key? Me. On it. I photographed the opener and the brass copy on a blank sheet, with today's newspaper in frame for an easy anchor, X if visible. Uploaded to divided by case, Mason divided by photos, sent to Ava. Lily's phone buzzed. Mason. I panicked. Can we talk? W, divided by out your dad. Lily. No, email Ava. Mason. You're throwing our marriage away over a misunderstanding. Lily. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a plan. Put everything in writing. She put the phone face down and stared at the sink. I kept smoothing him out for months. She whispered. Every time he crossed a line, I told myself he was stressed, that I could help. I think I was an enabler. I poured her coffee. You loved him. You wanted it not to be what it was. That's human. Enabling ends today. She nodded, once. Today. 9:20 a.m. Doorbell. Hank stood there with a USB and a donut bag. Brought receipts and carbs, he said. You look like you fought a raccoon. It's not hand. He came in, set the USB on the island, and pointed a thumb toward Mason's sedan parked 2 houses down. He looped last night at 7:22. Slow roll, lights off, like he was timing porch lights. I pulled the clips, labeled. We watched on my laptop. Loop, 1,922. MP4. Then garage. Palm. 1,812. MP4. Hank chewed quietly. People like him don't believe in boundaries, Hank said. They believe in soft spots. You did good. I'm proud of you, librarian. He squeezed Lily's shoulder, left the donut bag, and went to work. 10:05. Phone. Midwest Community Bank. I put it on speaker. Mr. Carter, this is Brian from Online Security. We received a legal hold from your attorney. We've preserved the device ad attempts. Timeline, I asked. Yesterday 3:07 p.m. and again 3:16 p.m. Same IP. Same device signature. Can you read the user agent? He did. I wrote it down, then said, I'll need a formal letter with this summary from my attorney. It'll be in your portal by noon, he said. We'll also tag your account for in-person verification only for device changes. No remote. Thank you, I said. Lily watched me work like she was learning a language in real time. Not love. Boundaries. 10:30. I texted Dr. Patel. Me, 15 minutes. Dr. Patel. 11:15. Call me. I walked the backyard while Lily showered. Glitter winked from the mulch like the house itself had receipts. 11:15. Phone to ear. Dr. Patel. I keep hearing this sentence, I said. If I'd pushed sooner, if I hadn't offered the house, maybe. He cut in gently. We don't litigate alternate timelines when the current one has danger in it. Say the line. I'm not being cruel, I'm being clear. Good. Now the second line. I won't rescue his discomfort, I will hold it. And the third. I refuse to be the story he tells about himself. Good, he said. When guilt taps you on the shoulder, ask it if it's volunteering to take your place at the confrontation. Guilt never raises its hand. And in life, and blames that is level blang. He gave me 3 tools. Name it. This is coercion. Located in my house. My drawer. My will. Limit it. No contact tonight. Attorney only. I wrote them down and taped them inside a cabinet where I keep the sugar. Old men have weird sanctuaries. Mine is a label maker. Noon. Ava again. Ava. Bank's letter received. Also obtained ring clip chain of custody statement from Hank. I drafted. He signed. Please upload your checksum PDF to portal. Me uploaded. Ava. Good. Drafting civil protection order packet as contingency. Not filing yet. Do we have to press criminal charges? Lily asked. The space between punishment and protection, a tightrope. We don't have to do anything, I said. We retain options. She stared at the donut bag and didn't take one. He said half. He said he'd take half. You can't divide what isn't an asset. I said. You can divide debt. A judge knows the difference. She nodded, thinking like a librarian. Categories, edges, what belongs where. 1:15 p.m. Mason again, this time via email. From Mason Brooks. Subject, let's be adults. Body, I'm willing to talk if your dad apologizes for the trap and deletes that illegal recording. I'll come by around 7 to get my stuff. I forwarded to Ava without answering. Ava, do not respond directly. I'll reply formally. No trespass in effect. Any retrieval of items by appointment only. Civil standby if needed. Also, his word illegal is useful to me later. Lily's hands shook. He thinks he can just schedule his way back in. Entitlement, I said. They think access is owed. We made lunch and lists. Lily's list. Change pins. Pull annualcreditreport.com. Check for surprise accounts. Freeze Equifax. Divided by Experian divided by TransUnion. Separate phone plan. Remove him from emergency contacts. Call HR to update beneficiary on her small 403B. My list. Move deed into revocable trust if Ava says go. Revoke any stale beneficiary designations that say, to the estate route to TOD divided by pod. Replace garage keypad code. Inventory safe contents. Print asset list. Put letters of instruction in a fresh envelope with today's date. While we worked, the house changed temperature from crisis to clinic. When you name things, rooms stop lying. 2:40. Door knock. Officer Ramos, community liaison, stood on the porch. Ava had pinged him. Just doing a wellness check, he said. If Mr. Brooks attempts to enter tonight, call dispatch. We'll do a civil standby while he retrieves pre-agreed items. Not the safe, not the office. Clothes, shoes, toothbrush, that sort. Copy, I said. He looked at Lily. I'm sorry. You're not alone. Half my job is helping people draw lines they were taught not to draw. Lily's face softened. Thank you. 3:10. Ava called with a tone I hadn't heard. 2 things, she said. 1. The bank's log shows the device trying to add at 3:07 was the same device that pinged a sportsbook at 3:03. It's in their compliance notes. 2. She paused. A piece of context I should have told you up front. Not for drama. For trust. What context? I asked. Later, she said. Not yet. Just know that I am not neutral about men who weaponize family to steal. It will make sense. I let it go. She had earned the runway. I didn't know it yet, but that was the fuse on our second twist. 4. Lily sat with me on the porch, 2 mugs between us. A row of quiet houses doing what they do, holding people together while they figure out the math of love and damage. I'm embarrassed, she said. I chose him. You chose what you thought was love, I said. He chose leverage. Those aren't the same game. She nodded, tears without panic now. I keep replaying dinners, jokes, the way he made everything sound like he was doing us a favor. Gaslighting sells you a mirror that only shows their face, I said. We returned it. Her phone pinged HR confirming her beneficiary change submitted. She exhaled like a valve released. 5:25. I opened the safe, pulled each folder, took a photo, and checked against my asset list. Will copy present. Deed present. Insurance writers present. I slid the folders back, then wrote reviewed 5:25 p.m., unchanged on a sticky and stuck it on the inside of the safe door. Judges like boring. 6:40. Ava's email went out to Mason. Subject, notice no trespass and retrieval protocol. Body, Mr. Brooks. You are not permitted to enter Mr. Carter's home. Any retrieval must be scheduled through my office. You may collect limited personal items with police civil standby. You are not to contact Miss Carter directly this evening. Any violation will be documented and forwarded to law enforcement. A. Reynolds, Esquire. No reply. 7:12. Sunset bled the sky orange. I replaced the garage code and texted it to no one. It felt good. Do you hate him? Lily asked, not looking at me. I don't waste hate, I said. I spend clarity. She took a long breath. I want to sleep in my old room. Good, I said. The bed's made. We did a final lap. Doors, windows, stove. I left the hall light low, because light isn't always about seeing. Sometimes it's about saying, we're awake. Before bed, I opened my notebook and wrote, label what happened. Coercion, pressure disguised as concern, deception, rehearsed lies, device at attempts, mapping the house, boundary violations, bedroom drawer, safe, will, bank access, enabling, kindness, misapplied. That ends now. The house settled. The glitter in the grout still winked, but it wasn't mocking anymore. It was evidence that refused to leave, just because a man did. I turned off the lamp. When you stop being the enabler, you don't become cruel. You become accurate. And accuracy, in my experience, is what ends toxic stories. Tomorrow would bring lawyers and forms and logistics, and a new rhythm. Tonight brought something rarer. A house that finally believed itself. 9:10 a.m. The sky over Centerville was the color of paper. I was scanning receipts into divided by case. Mason divided by docs when Ava called. Front porch in 10, she said. I'm swinging by. She doesn't swing by. She executes. 10 minutes later, she was on my steps with a leather folio and eyes that had slept less than the law allows. We sat with coffee and the steady traffic of sparrows. Lily joined us, hair wet, sweatshirt clean, eyes clearer. Ava opened the folio. We're moving on 3 tracks, civil, criminal, protective, but we decide when to press each button. She slid a single page across the table. This is your retrieval protocol for Mason. Date stamped, limited items, civil standby only. No trespass in effect. If he violates, we push attempted theft with the 1247 audio, ring clips, and bank logs. Conceded doesn't was nodder. Lily nodded, voice steady. Okay. Ava looked at me. Housekeeping first. Dan, I recommend we move the deed into a revocable living trust this week. Your trustee. Successor trustee named someone not vulnerable to his pressure. This is not to hide assets. It's to lock process. Narcissists hate process. Done, I said. Name the forms. She continued, bullet precise. Lily, I want your credit freeze confirmation saved and a written beneficiary change from HR confirming receipt. Back up your phone and secure your Apple divided by Google ID with new 2-factor. Pull your credit report all 3 bureaus and circle anything you don't recognize. We'll dispute in writing. It is remented. Lily made a single note. Process is greater than panic. Ava exhaled, and the air shifted. She closed the folio, set her hands flat on it, and for the first time since I'd met her, allowed a seam to show. Now I tell you why I took this on like it was personal. She said. I didn't move. She didn't ask for permission. She just told the truth. When I was 19, Ava said. My mother married a man who loved being in charge of other people's resources. He smiled the way Mason smiles, helpful, concerned, always a little tired from doing everything for us. He asked about the will at Sunday dinner. He updated her bank accounts to make online access easier. He had pressure too, always someone he owed who didn't have a last name. Lily's breath caught. Ava kept going. Even, he used my mother's kindness as a passcode. He turned her into an enabler for his debt. When he finally tried to walk out with her safe documents, she didn't have a Dan. She had me. 19, no exhibit index, no one-party consent memo, just a flip phone and rage. She let the sentence stand in the air the way good lawyers let a stipulation cure the record. I learned paperwork, she said. I learned chain of custody, preservation letters, how to keep receipts boring so judges love them. I graduated, passed the bar, and started doing this for families who are told they're being cruel when they're being clear. The porch was quiet except for sparrows writing their own amicus brief on the fence. Ava turned to Lily. So no, I am not neutral about men who weaponize family to steal. I will be professional. I will also be relentless. Lily wiped her eyes without apology. Thank you. Ava flipped her folio back open, seam closed, blade back. Next steps. She pointed with her pen. 1. Dissolution path. We prep a petition for dissolution with a separation agreement that protects you. Minimal assets, significant debt. We keep tone factual, no adjectives. I'll request temporary orders. No harassment, no dissipation of assets. No contact outside counsel. If he pushes half, I'll hand him half the debt and a mirror. 2. Evidence packaging. Dan, your folder is pristine. Add a witness statement from Hank with the timeline of 722 loop and 612 keypad. He already signed my draft. But I want your signature that you received and preserved it. Attach the bank's device logs letter when it arrives, and the SHA 256 checksum PDF for the audio. I nodded. Already made a subfolder. Case. Mason, divided by sworn statements. Of course you did, she said. 3. Safety net. I've entered Lily in our firm's domestic safety protocol. Don't be alarmed by the name. It's for any boundary risk. If Mason shows up, the on-call attorney gets an alert with your address and the no trespass timestamp. We'll coordinate with Officer Ramos for response language. No trespass on file. Civil standby requested. Keep it boring. Boring wins, I said. Boring always wins, she echoed. She slid another sheet to Lily. Your checklist. Concrete, not vibes. Close any joint accounts. Get closure letters. Change direct deposit to a new bank he doesn't know. Replace phone SIM if he had physical access. Remove his authorized user status from cards. Get the bank to issue new numbers. Change passwords on email divided by cloud. Enable Authenticator app, not SMS. Update emergency contacts and work records. Block his number for now. When we need a record, we'll use email, only. Lily took it like it was oxygen. Ava looked at me again. 4th, communications discipline. Dan, you don't text him. You don't explain. You don't negotiate. You route everything through me. If he sends a wall of gaslighting about family and forgiveness, you forward, you don't reply. Narcissists want a stage. We give them a form. Copy, I said. 5th, she said. Therapy. Dr. Patel can help you both separate guilt from responsibility. Guilt is sticky. Responsibility is actionable. Action is how this ends. She closed the folio again and stood. One more thing, she said, and there was the faintest smile. Dan, your deterrent, the glitter, was elegant, but never say trap. Say non-injurious visual marker installed for documentation and safety. Already tattooed behind my teeth, I said. She handed me a thumb drive. Case packet mirrored here. If I get hit by a bus, any lawyer at my firm can pick it up and sing it in court. Lily exhaled a laugh that was half sob, half relief. You really thought of everything. I thought of everything he might do, Ava said. Because men like him don't improvise, they repeat. Her phone buzzed. She checked, then looked up. Bank letter arrived in the portal. Device signature matches the 3:07 p.m. attempt. Also, he tried again this morning at 7:54 from a new IP. Blocked. Good choice on in-person only. We moved inside to the island. I printed the bank letter, signed a receipt line for chain of custody, scanned, uploaded. The house sounded like a printer and a kettle, domestic and litigious in the same breath. Ava gathered her things. I'll file the trust deed once you sign. We'll hold the criminal packet unless he forces our hand. And if he tries to play we're all adults tonight, you won't be there to hear it. Where will I be? Lily asked. With your father, Ava said. Eating soup, changing passwords, doing procedure. She stepped off the porch, then turned back like she remembered the last clause in a contract. Lily, she said gently, you didn't fail a test, you passed one. You saw the pattern, named it, and refused to be the enabler. That's a boundary. Boundaries aren't unkind. They're instruction manuals for people who claim they can't read. After she left, Lily leaned against the frame and let out air she'd been renting for months. I like her, she said. Me too, I said. She's allergic to vibes. We spent the afternoon doing checklist. New passwords. New pins. SIM swap at the carrier store. Lily called HR. Got the beneficiary change confirmation. I signed trust papers Ava had docu-signed over. We notarized at the UPS counter where the clerk didn't flinch at anything. Back home, I filed the originals in the safe and taped a fresh sticky inside the door. Trust deed signed 3:42 p.m. Inventory unchanged. At 5:10 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, a transcript. Be an adult, Dan. Family talks. You think you won? I'll see you in court. I forwarded to Ava and Officer Ramos with the subject, voicemail threat. Adjacent. Save. Boring. Precise. Stamped. Sun dropped behind the maples. The house dimmed to that safe color spaces make when they're finally telling the truth. On my nightstand, the notebook waited. I flipped to the page under boundaries and wrote, second twist. Our lawyer isn't just good. She's motivated, not vengeance. Memory, not rage. Procedure. I closed the book. Lily set 2 bowls of soup on the table and sat across from me like she used to in high school when the world was algebra and good pens. Do you think this ends soon? She asked. It ends as long as we are clear, I said. Clarity has a way of making toxic people leave on their own. She nodded. We ate. The porch light threw a small circle onto the steps. The circle was enough. Tomorrow, we'd file. Tonight, we would let the house keep believing itself. And if he tried to rewrite the ending, we had something he didn't. Receipts, boundaries, and someone who knew how to use both like law. By morning, the house felt like a cleared courtroom, quiet, orderly, everything where it belonged. 8:12 a.m. Email from Ava, trust deed recorded. Chain of custody acknowledgements uploaded. Bank device log letter attached. Dissolution petition drafted awaiting Lily's signature. I poured coffee and opened the bank letter. Timeline matched our notes. 3:07 p.m. and 3:16 p.m. device ad attempts from the same user agent. Then 7:54 a.m. today from a new IP blocked. I initialed the bottom corner of the printout and wrote, received and preserved 8:16 a.m. Judges like boring. 9:3. Knock. Officer Ramos with a 2nd Patrol Unit. Brooks scheduled a retrieval through counsel. Ramos said, 10-minute window. Civil standby only. You call what's allowed. I nodded. Clothes, shoes, toiletries, no office, no safe, no drawers. Copy, he said. 9:11. Mason arrived in a hoodie that still flickered, where the glitter dye refused to die. A constellation at his hairline. Justice has a way of sticking. 10 minutes, Ramos said. No commentary. Mason swept in like he was auditioning for dignity, eyes skating across surfaces for leverage. He tried the office door. It was locked. He tried my stair. It didn't open either. Bedroom? He asked. Guest room, I said. With an officer. He smirked at Lily. This is petty. Petty as glitter, Lily said. This is procedure. He gathered clothes into a duffel, eyeing every frame as if it might confess. When he reached for the nightstand drawer, Ramos coughed once. Mason pulled his hand back like a child from a stove. At the shoe bench, he palmed the garage opener he'd surrendered last night and slid it toward his pocket. I didn't speak. I just looked at Ramos. Leave it, Ramos said. Mason dropped it. The opener landed with a clack and one silver speck leapt up, as if to wave. On his way out, he stopped at the island and squared himself up to me. You think you won? Courts love fairness. Courts love receipts, I said. He almost smiled. We'll see. We will, I said. On the record. The door closed behind him. The cruiser rolled. The house exhaled. 10:22 a.m. We signed the dissolution petition and the separation agreement Ava had drafted. Calm language, tight boundaries, 0 adjectives. Lily initialed every page like a person who now believed paper. Noon. Hank texted a photo from Main Street, Mason at the gas station, arguing with a clerk. The image caught it. Tiny silver constellations still lodged in his beard and hairline under fluorescent light. Poetic justice doesn't need the poetry explained. Hank, glitter tells a story. Me, keep the photo. Title public_1018.jpg. Hank, framed and ready, counselor. 1:40 p.m. Ava patched us into a quick 3-way with a prosecutor intake clerk. Not filing, just previewing the packet if we needed to push attempted theft later. Everything's indexed? The clerk asked. Audio 12:47, Ava said. Bank logs 3:7, 3:16, 7:54. Ring at 6:12 and 7:22. Photo EXIF 12:58. Civil standby today, 9/11, 9:21. No trespass timestamped. Threat adjacent voicemail 5:10 p.m. yesterday. Chain of custody acknowledgements signed. The clerk whistled low. That's tidy. Tidy wins, Ava said. 2:5. Lily clicked submit On the court's e-filing portal. Confirmation pinged. She sat back. The sound wasn't fireworks. It was a lock, engaging. 3:30. Bank flagged another attempt, this time on Lily's email. Two-factor saved it. She read the alert. Then looked up at me like a person who just learned she can paddle. Report, don't react, I said. She forwarded the alert to Ava, CC'd Officer Ramos, and filed it in divided by case. Mason divided by docs with the naming convention we'd set. Boring. Beautiful. 4:15. Ava dropped off a thumb drive. Printed packet, mirrored. If we never use it, good. If we do, it sings. She stood to leave, then stopped. Small bonus, she said, almost smiling. Bank compliance cross-referenced yesterday's user agent with a sportsbook login at 3:03 p.m. Same device. It won't come into evidence easily, but it builds context. Lily didn't ask for catharsis. She asked for soup. That's how you know someone is healing. 7:10 p.m. Golden hour laid a clean stripe across the kitchen. We ate at the island soup, bread. The kind of silence that isn't avoidance. Do you think he'll break the no trespass? Lily asked. He'll test something, I said. Entitlement always checks if the door is still a door. We did one last lap. Doors, windows, stove. I set the alarm, turned the hall light down to that steady glow that says, not afraid, just awake. On my desk, the safe inventory sticky had new ink from today. Trust deed filed contents unchanged. I closed the safe and let the bolt speak for me. 9:03 p.m. A text came in from an unknown number. We can end this like adults, no lawyers. I forwarded it to Ava and turned my phone face down. Adults use forms. 10:12 p.m. The neighborhood quieted the way Ohio suburbs do, soft, slow, everyone agreeing to stop being interesting. I thought of the first night I heard Mason whisper into my ductwork and how small my house felt. Tonight it felt bigger than him. I wrote the last entry under boundaries. In my house, kindness is not access. In my family, love is not leverage. In my life, procedure is not paranoia, it's peace. I closed the notebook and left it there like a flag. What happened here isn't rare. It's just usually undocumented. If you're listening because something about your own kitchen feels wrong, here's what we learned. Psychological name the playbook. Gaslighting says you're cruel for drawing lines. The answer is, I'm not being cruel. I'm being clear. Narcissists don't crave love. They crave leverage. They call your kindness access and your trust permission. An enabler isn't weak. They're hopeful. Hope is good. Hope with receipts is better. Legal U.S. Ohio generalities, not legal advice. One-party consent. Ohio. You can record a conversation you're part of. Confirm your state's law. Use civil standby when emotions run hot. It keeps retrievals boring, and boring is safer. No trespass notice plus demand to surrender keys. Set a paper boundary the body can follow. Move critical assets by process, not panic. Consider a revocable living trust. Update beneficiaries, TOD. Divided by POD. Lockdown POA. Springing, not blanket. Preserve chain of custody. Dates, times, file names, print headers, sign, and date your own. Received and preserved. Judges like boring. Two-factor everywhere prefer an authenticator app, not SMS. Credit freeze at all 3 bureaus. Pull credit reports and dispute in writing. Separate banking. Close joint access. Get closure letters. Document device add attempts with your bank's security team. Request legal holds on logs. Boundaries you can say out loud. I won't rescue your discomfort. I will hold it. You don't need my details. You need my process. If you want to talk, put it in writing and copy counsel. Adults use forms. Final thought. The glitter wasn't revenge. It was a non-injurious visual marker that said, the line is real. The cameras, the logs, the laminated index, they weren't about catching someone. They were about protecting someone. My daughter first, me second, our home always. The house sleeps now. It believes itself. And if you needed to hear it, you're allowed to draw the line. Draw it once, draw it clearly, and let the truth stick. If you made it this far, here's the part I wish someone had handed me months ago. The biggest lesson I learned is that no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a footnote for protecting your peace. Boundaries are not cruelty, they're clarity. When you label behavior toxic, gaslighting, coercive, your brain stops negotiating with it. Write it down. Screenshot it. Timestamp it. Receipts don't argue, people do. And when your nervous system is fried, boring procedures become a lifeline. Two-factor, credit freezes, written notices, civil standbys, everything in a labeled folder. That's not paranoia. That's mental health with a filing system. Here's what saved us. Pausing the guilt, naming the pattern, and choosing process over panic. I stopped rescuing someone else's discomfort and started holding it. I remembered that love without boundaries is just access, and access without trust is leverage. Most of all, I learned that protecting my daughter and myself didn't require a grand speech, just consistent, documented. No. Your turn. Help me reality check this. AITA for installing a non-injurious visual marker and documenting everything. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever dealt with an entitled family member who treated kindness like a keycard? How did you protect your peace without burning your life down? Drop your survival tips. Scripts that worked. I'm not being cruel. I'm being clear. And any checklists you swear by. If you're in the thick of it, borrow mine. Pause guilt. Name the playbook. Pick a boundary you can enforce today, and put it in writing. We're strangers on the internet, but we can still be a neighborhood one boring, empowering receipt at a time.